Hey, it is Wednesday, September the 23rd, the year 2020, and welcome to the Ken and Glenn Show.
That was an accident, dude. I didn't mean to not be on screen.
Yeah, well, you know, it's easy to remember. It worked out beautifully, man.
It's almost like you're a professional on camera.
I've done this a few times. I didn't even have a script, and I remember the date very well because tomorrow is the anniversary of my dad's death. And it's been tomorrow will be 17 years. Guess who's not depressed about it? You know why? Because tomorrow's a new day. There are two reasons I'm not depressed. One, it's a new day. This happened September 24th of 2003. So it is indeed 17 years since my dad died very suddenly of a heart attack. And the other reason is because we had zero unfinished business. Zero. We were on cruise control, baby. Wow. We both knew what's up. We both knew exactly where we stood. No regrets, no unfinished business, no unfinished no remaining questions of significance. You know, we were wide open books with one another. So this brings us to our topic tonight. Ken, tell them what the topic is tonight, as though they didn't know when they read the big bold letters.
They may not have seen it. We're talking about liars.
Is that our new look for the show?
Hey, mine's more. Yours is kind of squared off. Your little phone cover thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mine's not. So, dude, we're talking. I mean, look, I don't even know why we're talking about it. You wanted to talk about lying. So here we are.
Because I think it's very important. It's something that I've taught a lot about in my program. It's something that I've done in my own life, as any self-respecting, honest person would admit that. Thank you for that. And hello, Billy. Hello, Larry. Hello, Robert.
I have a question for you.
Pamela. And you pronounce it Alan. It's just Alan, even though it looks like Alain.
It's the French version of Alan.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, not Alain.
I shared it out, by the way, just so you know. Oh.
Same here, Billy. Wait.
Larry Schneider says
Billy Merritt. Daggone it. Look, we got Billy Merritt. So I have a question for you, dude.
Okay, but before you ask me the question, Larry Schneider says Glenn has a flat top mic.
Yes.
I guess that's what it's called. Or
say
also
hi to Billy
known
Merritt.
as
Billy Merritt. Billy Merritt's a good dude. Say hi to him for me.
Hello, Billy.
Yeah, mine is not. Mine's got a different shape. Anyway, I have a question for you. Talking about your dad and every other person that's ever died on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
What do you think Jesus meant when he said, "Let the dead bury the dead"? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever been asked that question?
I have never been asked that question.
Jesus said, there's a scripture where Jesus said, "Let the dead bury the dead." And I've often wondered, I mean, I have thoughts on it, but I've wondered, like, yeah, Billy is awesome, Robert. I introduced Robert to Billy, and now Robert stalks Billy's videos.
Well done, Ken. Well done.
Robert loves Billy. I love that.
So let's make sure we don't forget the original topic. But I'm happy to go down this lane with you.
Just for a minute, I don't want to make it the main topic, because the main topic is liars, and the world has a couple of those in it.
Unless you were lying when you posted that, in which case we don't have to talk about it at all.
Nice hair, Glenn. I love your hair.
Thank you, bud. Is any of it out of place tonight?
No,
I just think it would be so funny to say tonight we're going to talk about lying and then don't even mention it. Like just talk about anything else, and people are going, "What the hell kind of bait and switch tactic is that?" Okay,
they were lying. Clickbait.
Right? Exactly.
No, I
ask me the question that Jesus commented on.
Huh?
He was saying, let the dead bury the dead.
Yeah.
Do you have an exact verse that you can quote for that? Hey, guys, I want to ask everyone to share this out. Here, no, I mean, name the verse. Share it out, please, because this is going to be a hot topic tonight. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, Darlene. Hello, Sarah. This is going to be a hot topic tonight because it is something that is prevalent in our world, and we're going to light it up here in just a matter of minutes. But right now, Ken has a question. Dude, about what the meaning is.
Sarah Stalker, she's awesome too.
What
that
the meaning
right there is actually just a straight up badass.
Hello, Sarah. You know the question: let the dead bury the dead.
Hook, line,
right?
And sinker.
I see it.
He's talking about the. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so
why don't you lay your thoughts out on what you think that means, and I'll do the same. And can you give us the actual verse that the quote is from?
It's Matthew 8:22.
Okay.
Matthew 8:22. Jesus said, "Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead." He was responding to a request from one of his followers who asked to be excused from his responsibilities to go bury his father.
Okay.
Well, that's like kind of straight up gangster of that's kind of gangster. That's a gangster move, dude. Like, hey, no. So it says it might seem he was asking to make funeral arrangements for his recently deceased father. However, he was actually asking Christ to excuse him from his spiritual responsibilities so he could return to live with his aging father until after his father died. Of course, that could mean the disciple would have been gone a long time, etc., etc. Instead, Christ told him to focus on his calling. A better sense of Jesus' statement would be, don't neglect the high spiritual calling I've given you. Let the spiritually dead attend to the routine tasks of life.
Yes.
Certainly, Christ would not forbid the man from attending the funeral arrangements for his father, etc., etc. So, yeah. That's confusing.
That is,
let's get back to the liar thing.
No, hang on. I would not, just so you know, I would not lie about this and tell you that would have been my interpretation. I will tell you the truth and tell you that would have been my interpretation. And I think it's a way of saying that life takes place in the windshield.
Yeah.
Not in the rearview mirror.
Right.
We move forward. We don't retreat. Let the dead bury the dead. Let that which is deceased be deceased. Let it handle all matters deceased. And let's not reduce the vitality of present tense living to preoccupy ourselves with that which is dead.
Right.
I mean, it's a really healthy outlook to keep moving forward. My friend Jim Beaver, you've heard me mention Cecily Adams relentlessly in the workshop.
Yeah.
My dear friend, lifelong friend who passed away at age 46.
Jim Beaver?
No, Jim didn't. Cecily did. And Jim was married. Jim was married to Cecily at the time of her death and had been married for a number of years.
Got it.
To her. And they had a 2-year-old daughter at the time of her death. And Jim wrote an incredible book. And the title is Life's That Way, or so people thought. They thought that Jim's, and this is where inflection can get people into, not necessarily in trouble, but they certainly can misunderstand the original intention. People thought what Jim meant is he had written a book on grieving, and that basically it was like, life's that way, life's that way. Turns out that's not what he meant at all. And he clarified it for me. He was quoting a friend of his who had given him what he considered to be some of the most significant assistance with regard to grieving he had ever heard. And what that assistance was, Ken, was this: life that way. Life's that way. And I think that might be what Jesus was saying. Life's that way. So it wasn't life's that way. It was, it's that way.
That's kind of the way I've always thought. Like it was like he was saying, hey, no, don't spend time back there, man. Like, let's go this way.
Right. Well, there's not a huge future in lamenting at length. Right. I think a certain amount of lamenting to good morning, Roxy. Here, hey, I'm Roxy. Saying at almost 10 p.m. Because it's early day to me, but
yeah,
down here in Australia, right now that I'm down here,
right.
But yeah, life's that way.
Yeah,
and we don't want to lament endlessly and get caught up in things we cannot change,
right?
And be present in that which is changeable. Right. And think where we can make a difference. We can still make a difference right now. Tonight, you and I can make a difference. And we can't make a difference in yesterday with one exception, Ken, one exception. And that is that we can change our understanding of what happened yesterday and reframe it. And when we reframe our understanding, we alter the past's grip on us. That's a literal truth. So if someone says you can't change your past, that is not entirely true, because you certainly can change. You can change the hold that your past has on your life. Yes. Tonight we're talking about lying, however, and
Billy has assured us that Jesus is loving this conversation, and I love that, actually.
Well, then that love is going to continue. And by the way, you guys are a part of this, because hey, Ricardo, and hey, Karen Toddy, I want to hear what you guys are thinking and feeling with regard to lying.
There's my sister.
Oh, well, hello, Melanie.
Yeah.
So
Melanie. She played the nurse practitioner in real life.
Awesome. Hey, bud, do me a favor. Sorry. Can you share this out? For some reason, I did share it. I shared it to my public, but can you share it out to the Extra Mile pages?
I will.
I tried and it wouldn't give me the group. It said share to group, and I hit it, and then it wouldn't give me the option on what group to send it to.
I've got the Extra Mile workshop right here.
Yeah, all classes.
I can't see the whole name, but I'm assuming I'm in both of them. How about the West Coast one too?
Yeah, do hit both of them while you're at it.
I did. Done.
Okay.
We're going to have all kinds of people on here.
Can I open by offering my opinion about lying and why I think it makes for an excellent discussable topic this evening?
Yes.
So everybody that I've ever known in my life has not only lied, but they have lied their butt off, me included. And I want to tell you that I think the primary reason that is acceptable in our society, or it has become acceptable, it's become that, is because we've sort of turned our heads the other way and said, that's just life or whatever. But it's not just life. It's nothing more than a bad habit and a dangerous habit, and a habit that gets worse when you practice it. And I want to mention that there are different types of lies. And some of them, it is my opinion only. This does not make it the law. Please know that. Nor when Ken expresses an opinion does it make it the law. But he and I tend to be almost across the board on the same basic pageness of life. We have a few different areas in which we disagree. And frankly, I bless our disagreements, because I never was asking the heavens to give me a perfect mirror to look into. And I admire his differences, and he admires mine, and certainly at least respects them. If not admire, he certainly respects them, and I do his. But I want to list a couple of types of lying. And I didn't bother to look these up on Google or anything. This is just from my own awareness and discussions with many people. There's lying by omission. There's lying by pretending to not know. They're lies of protection, lies to bolster self-image, lies to cause no harm, and bait and switch lies. Then my least favorite of all of them, which I call the lies for no reason whatsoever. There's no gain. It's simply proof that the person has cultivated a really bad habit of not telling the truth. Here's why I think it's permissible in society. Again, expressing my opinion only. I think it's permissible in society for two reasons. One, because everybody knows we've all told lies. So in other words, we are very quick to pardon it and not think much of it, especially the lesser lies. However, the bigger reason I think it exists, Ken, and this is the one I really want to look into tonight with everyone. So please play along, guys. Send us your input and so forth. But what concerns me, and I shared this with Ken tonight before we went live, is if you were to have some sort of medical device that could photograph you at a molecular level. In other words, they insert it in your body. I don't know whether it's something they would put through your nose, you'd swallow it, or they would inject it into you. But I'm speaking hypothetically, but really imagine this with me. If they could send something with a camera on it to photograph your insides, ours, all of us, to photograph our insides and capture what happens to us at a molecular level when we lie. And I think that if we live in this misguided universe that believes if we don't see it, it must not be happening. And I think it's a very dangerous place to be. Very, very dangerous place to be, where you have to see it to believe it. Well, we know that in the manifest realm, it's completely the opposite, which is you have to believe it before you'll see it. But so many people, they need to see proof. And if I don't see proof, then I wrongly believe in a world where we get away with things. And this is where I think I differ from most people. I understand that there is no such thing as a consequenceless decision. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist in our world. We certifiably live in a choice, consequence, cause, and effect world. That's the reality. Now, not all effects are the same. Not all consequences are the same. Some vary, some vary greatly. But every choice we make creates a consequence. Every cause has an outcome. But if we don't know, the saying ignorance is bliss, I got to tell you, ignorance can also cause a tremendous amount of damage. Because if you're practicing things, let me say that again, if you're practicing things in your life that are causing unknown damage to you,
right,
that's hugely dangerous and risky. And you're just playing the I'm dumb game because I don't know. Well, geez, I didn't know that. Well, what if you did know it? What if we were to send a camera into your beingness? Pardon the very woo-woo, foo-foo, California-esque terminology, but I lived in Los Angeles for a very long time, so deal with it. We're going to send a camera in, and that camera is going to photograph your molecular reaction to lying, and I'm going to promise you, you would think more than twice about changing your beliefs with regard to lying. You're only doing it because you don't know what it's doing to you. I want to say that again. You're only doing it because you don't know what it's doing to you. Excuse me while I write that down, Ken. That's worth writing down, if I may
Billy
say so.
Says, I love woo-woo when it works.
You are only doing it because you don't know what it is doing to you.
But dude, you said something a minute ago about the different variations of lies, and one of them you said was for protection, but aren't all of them kind of laced with that?
Okay, laced maybe partially, but some of them have very little to do with that. Very little to do. I mean, I see what you're saying, that there's a connection to all lies, but those are very, very different lies. And you and I agreed today that there are certain lies that we not only understand, we both support.
I like when people say, let me be honest with you. I'm always
you mean
like,
as opposed to all of the other times you've spoken to me?
Like this entire conversation, you've been lying. Yeah. It's just that's one of my pet peeves. Like, don't say, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. Let me be honest with you.
So let's ask this to really get the ball rolling tonight. Ken, let's ask everyone to drop a 1 if you've ever told a lie, and drop a 2 if you've ever told many lies. And I would be shocked if we didn't get a C of 2s.
Yeah.
In fact, if you don't drop a 2, you're probably lying about the first question.
If you don't drop a 2, you should be dropping a 2.
Right. That's exactly right. So drop a 1 if you've ever told a lie, and drop a 2 if you've ever told many lies in the course of your life. And here come the 2s. I'm waiting to see a parade of 2s. And then I got to tell you, here's the deal. If you're not putting 2s down, then you're actually lying. if you're not putting 2s down, you're lying, because no one has ever not told multiple lies throughout the course of their life. And I'm sure you've had your reason. But you know what? The reason I wanted to do this show tonight, Ken, is I wanted people to learn something about the downside of lying and even the dangerous side of lying.
Yeah.
So can we go through these, like, kind of, let's start with the one you and I believe in. Okay.
Sarah said, I heard the directions for 1 too quickly.
Oh, that's
Billy says 3.
Billy put a 3.
He's like, we're just gonna move on past that too. I blew that record up a long time ago.
So that's really true. So Larry says 1, 2, and 3 to be safe. So
we got Brad Leland on. What the hell? What does that mean?
He feels the need to speak in an alternate language.
Is that Latin?
So we gotta get this out there, Ken. So
yeah,
the idea of the one that Ken and I support, and actually we were talking with Dr. Bernie Siegel about this in a phone conversation that we had, which was certainly very inspirational, to say the least. But there are times, for example, when you don't want to extinguish someone's slender thread of hope.
Right.
And in doing so, you can equip them with something that increases their chances of some sort of recovery, as in a medical recovery, a physical recovery, a spiritual recovery. So, for example, we can call it therapeutic lying. Laura, I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to paint a picture. For example, a family van flips over. It contains 5 people, and 4 of the family members, 3 of them are killed. 1 of them is at death's door and not expecting to make it. And 1 of them is roughed up really bad, but the forecast is, it's questionable. They just don't know. It's kind of touch and go.
I do not like this story.
I don't like it either, Ken, but we talk about dangerous things sometime on this show. Okay. And that's what we're doing. Not everything we talk about is fun and games. You know that. You know, of course it's sad.
It's sad. That's all I'm saying.
Well, should we take a break and just be sad for a little bit, or do you want to proceed?
I'm good. Let's go. Go back to your.
So in this scenario, let's say that 3 loved ones have died in this scenario, and 1 is just barely hanging on and not expected to make it, and 1 is hanging on and it's questionable. If you were to rush in and announce to the one that's questionable that your family's gone and the last remaining living one's probably going to be out of here in another hour, that is honest, but I don't know that it's smart. And I'm not saying they should lie and tell the person that's hanging in there but is conscious that they should lie to those people and say, or I mean, how did I want to word this? That they should tell them that everyone's fine. That's not what they should do. That's a bold-faced lie. I think that's where that expression comes from. But what they could say is things are being worked on, right? Matters are being handled. right? And that's it. So it's neutral, and the whole idea is to protect the person from completely tanking because they will give up. That's correct, Laura. I just saw this, because they will give up.
Yeah.
So it robs them of their incentive to live. So you're basically putting a nail in their coffin by giving them too much to deal with when they are fragile. Yeah. And I think that's another thing that people have to be careful with, is to assess someone's fragility and understand that what you're about to say to possibly relieve your own issue, guilt, whatever it is, it might just be the thing that pushes them over the edge. Those are not the kinds of lies I'm talking about. In fact, it's almost as if those are somehow love-governed lies. And I will stand behind that. And I would stand before God, and I can even picture God going, did you really think you needed to explain that one to me?
Right.
I'm serious, Ken. I can picture God going, you do not need to explain why you did that. I get why you did that. In fact, I was watching going, that's love.
Yeah.
I was watching going, that's compassion.
Yeah.
And yes, it's triage skills. Wow, Laura's on fire tonight.
She's a nurse practitioner, dude.
Yeah,
she deals with death every day with she does primarily elder care. So she deals with a lot.
So you got to make sure you're not giving people too much to handle. But when you're doing things like bait and switch, where you tell somebody a lie to sell them on a package of some sort, an invitation of here's what it's going to be. And this is done, man, this is done in the speaker world, Ken, where they tell you what it's going to be and enlist your commitment. And then that's not what it is at all.
Right.
And those kinds of lies, and again, I would be the person to drop a 2 with regard to my own life. But here's the good news. I have been on lying alert for the last few years of my life. And I have to tell you, my life is happier than it has ever been. Because before I ever tell a lie or make a choice, let me back up. Before I make a choice, I look at that choice and say, in doing this, would this be something I would have to lie about?
Right.
And that is part of my healthy criteria to then go on to not choose it. Well, how do you think I learned that with such discipline? I learned it by doing it the more traditional way. I learned it by making the choice and then having to carry its weight through lying, which I don't belong in that universe.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
I am so hypersensitive, and appropriately so, but I don't belong in a universe where I'm going to have to carry the weight of something that I don't need to be carrying. And I've actually gone through the exercise, my dear brother. I have gone through this exercise where I apologized to a less conscious version of me and apologized for saddling him up with heavy things to deal with. And I haven't done that. I haven't done that in a while now. I've been very, very kind to me and not wanting to give myself regrets. That's why in our workshop, we started out years ago saying no regrets. And then I changed it a short time after we began saying that as part of our affirmations. I changed it to no more regrets, which means I understand, Ken, you have regrets. I have regrets. Everyone in this audience has regrets. But you know what? Let's become more regret conscious in advance before a regret becomes a regret. And understand, I'm at a fork in the road here. And I can choose left or right. And here's what's interesting. Whichever way I choose, there's going to be some sort of thought about it. And it's not only the things that we do that we sometimes regret. There are a lot of times that there are things that we regret because we didn't do them. So again, will the situation produce regret? Will it produce regret for having done it, which translates into another word called guilt? Or will it produce a regret for not doing it?
Weldon brings up guilt. Now that we're all full of guilt, are we going to turn the corner here?
Yes, that we're healing tonight. That's what this is about. But part of the healing process is to have a better game plan in regard to lying moving forward. So say, I've lied in the past, and here's what I discovered about my sensitive nature. Lying does not work for me. It doesn't work. It's a short-lived gain, or so we think. It doesn't work.
Doesn't work for anyone.
And it certainly doesn't work for relationships. It doesn't work for your blood pressure. It doesn't bolster anything in your life. And the thing it assaults most of all, Ken, is our self-esteem. Yeah. Because the one thing you know when you're lying is that you're lying.
Yeah.
Other people will figure it out in time, but right now we know. So let me take this one step further, and then I'm going to shush because I want to start highlighting some things people are saying. But I do have this one more thing I want to say about it, which is when someone wants us to get into their drama and we're invited into the drama. What are you laughing at?
Laura's comment.
Oh, about lying about a woman's weight? Right. Understood. Well, that's one of them I covered, when you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. But when you, now I lost my thought, Ken, shoot. No, it's all right. When someone is wanting to enlist our participation and we realize that now it's being sales pitched. So I'm sure that everyone at some point has probably heard, or most of you at least have heard this. Hey, no one will have to know. Or whatever it is. Maybe it's you're keeping money in business out of a drawer and nobody knows. It doesn't matter what the scenario is, but the sales pitch to enlist our behavior is, hey, nobody has to know. Okay?
That's right.
The defense against that is 4 words that protect my butt. And those 4 words are this: not true, I know.
Yeah.
Not true, I know. And that's the only knowing that we really ever need to be clean with, is that I will know. I will know that I'm lying. And I don't want that heaviness in my life. And if I can make a huge difference in this world between now and the time I leave it, and even posthumously through book writing and whatnot, I would tell you to be more careful about what you lie about and put a bigger cost on it than you've currently got on it, where you've sort of conveniently looked aside and said, no big deal. It's no big deal. I got to tell you, it's a very big deal. And it winds up eroding our lives. And so before we get to that fork in the road, stop and just ask, am I going to be comfortable on the backside of this experience? Not having the experience, but how will I feel on the backside? And then how will I feel on the backside if I don't choose it? So maybe it's a career path and you're feeling timid about making such a bold choice. And then I got to tell you, when you get to your death day, I've interviewed enough people, older people, Ken, to know this. The older people who are at death's door, they have far more regrets about what they didn't do than what they did do.
Yeah.
So we got to be mindful of that as well. Anyway, that's my pitch. I'm opening up for thought. I want people to feel better.
Ricardo says, Uggg, the sales pitch. Now, I do want to say this, because I've been a professional salesperson for 35 years, since I had my first real sales job at 17. So I think that Uggg, the sales pitch, is true in certain scenarios. Maybe even some industries are littered with really slimy sales pitches. However, a true professional salesperson knows that there's no Uggg to it. It's sales is nothing more than building relationships, solving a problem for the client, delivering what that solution is, the idea, like, hey, here's my solution. What do you think of this? And the customer says yes, or I don't have enough information to say yes, is what I always hear instead of no. And then you say, well, here's this and this and this, and you kind of explain it, and then you ask for the sale. You ask them to do business with you. That's a professional salesperson. salesperson. And of course, objections come up along the way. Like, well, I don't know, that's a little bit more than I was wanting to spend. And then you help them figure that out. And that's it. But like there are some people that think that sales is whoever can tell the fastest, biggest lie and get away with it for the longest is going to be the most successful salesperson. Right. And that's just not the case. I've met those salespeople. I've had those salespeople work for me, and they suck. They suck really bad. And guess what? Their lives suck as a result most of the time. And it's just like in your industry. I mean, dude, you're an actor, but at the end of the day, you're a salesperson. If you don't do your job well and close the deals, so to speak, and deliver the product and the service, and then you're not gonna have work.
Right. And I agreed with you when we talked about lying last week that lies are part of the fabric of the world. And I agree to an extent. I'm talking about the lies that we tell blindly or unthinkingly that are wreaking havoc on our lives. They are eroding our souls, and they are preventing us. You remember when I said last week that I said, what are you doing? And what is what you're doing keeping you from doing? Well, guess what one of the front runners was for that? The answer was lying. So what are you doing? If the answer is lying, then what is what you're doing? What is lying? So enter the word lying here. What is lying keeping you from doing? Or what is lying keeping you from being? Who is lying keeping you from being? What kind of life might you have if you were to break your commitment to lying?
Yeah.
And people would be able to count on you for the truth. I got to tell you, one of the highest words I can be reviewed as, Ken, one of the highest words, in fact, alive or dead, I would like to always be thought of as reliable.
Yeah.
Reliable, right?
Yeah.
Where people can count on you. They trust you because they know you're not lying to them. I calculated this month and realized I have just crossed the 10,000 scenes number that I've directed. 10,000. It's not an exaggeration. It's not a lie. I've directed 10,000 scenes. It's easy to figure out the math. I do 36 to 40 scenes a week on Mondays and Tuesdays. So if you call that an average of 38 twice is 76. 76 doubled is 152. That means I'm seeing 152 scenes a month. If you do that times 10 months, I mean, you could just do all the math. It calculates to, and I've been doing it for 5.5 years, it calculates to just over 10,000 scenes. Now, I also taught for 20 years in Los Angeles. So I probably looked at a total in those 25 years, all told, I probably taught somewhere in the neighborhood of 50,000 short scenes.
Gee.
That's a lot. And it's not a lie. But you know what I've never done? I've never lied one time, not one time, about what I saw. I've never lied, even if it's someone I really like.
Yeah.
But if I don't like the work, and if I don't feel there's a future in the work, I'm actually doing them a disservice to label something that isn't good.
Have you ever had an actor in your school that just was horrible and you had to tell them you have no future in this?
I have never said that because that's not my right to predict their future. What I have told them is we've got a lot of work to do.
Mm.
And I meant it. And I'll say subtle things like that was not good. That was not good. It was not compelling. I would rather have done anything other than watch what I just watched. I would rather have done anything other than spend my time. Now, here's the good news. It doesn't get worse than that. So that's good news. We're going to work up from there. But I believe, and I'm not trying to crush someone's spirit. Fortunately, I've only had a couple of bricks. We call them bricks, where it's an absolute brick. And I realized I think I'd have enjoyed the scene more had it been a brick. You know, because at least the brick has an excuse. Listen, JuliAnna's in there, right?
Yeah.
JuliAnna Briscoe. She's been
Subtle.
with me for years, and she
Yeah.
knows that I speak the truth to people. Because if you tell, oh, that was wonderful, and of course, you know what the most overused word in show business is? Amazing.
Nuh-uh.
Amazing. Oh God, in Hollywood, it's nauseating. People are like, oh my God, I've worked with her. She's so amazing. And you're going, is everybody amazing? Is that what's going on? How is that dress? It's amazing. It's an amazing wardrobe.
What about this question? Why does everybody want to leave that extra N off your name?
Well, she at least gave me credit for the dash. Like, not sure if it's an N. Or it is two N's, Laura.
It's right there on the screen.
Here would be helpful if you just look here at the screen, like right down here, right? You can see the two N's. So what is the question? When you first became an actor,
did you ever find it hard to be true to yourself because
to be your true self.
To be
your true self.
To be your true self. I was scanning that too.
No. In fact, I'm convinced that that's why I've gone on to have a really wonderful career, is because I have not altered who I am for the industry. Meaning, when I go in and meet people and so forth, I don't pretend to be who I'm, I don't pretend to be who I'm not until it's time to actually do the role. And that's very different. That's very different, because if you think about it, that's what they're hiring you to do. They're hiring you to be different. Here's Craig. Hey, Craigie. They're hiring you to be different. But when you go into a room, they want to meet you, right? They want to experience your essence.
Yeah.
Because they want to know, frankly, what you're going to be like to have around them on the set. And it's not about a job. It's about your ability to parlay that job into multiple hires. I tell my actors, hires do not equal a career. Rehires equal a career. And I think being a truthful human being is certainly a huge appeal.
Yeah.
And again, I want to reiterate, I've learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And I think that that's part of the heavenly plan, is when we learn things the hard way and we have cuts and bruises and bleeding associated with lessons learned, that tends to be concretized in our thinking. Like, it finally locks and stays, and we get it, and we realize, I want to be thought of as loving, as real, as supportive, as kind, as helpful, all of those things. And that, I'm going to speak the truth. You know that unequivocally. And if there's doubt, then on some level, that's probably on me.
Yeah.
If there's doubt, because I haven't fully communicated to you who it is I am. Because if you knew me better, you'd know that daddy ain't playing. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
And I wish that society valued the truth more than it does. And this is why I don't hang out with a lot of people. I know a lot of people, but I don't hang out with them, because I think life is loaded with traps that we can step into.
I think that the problem, not the only problem, obviously, but we can look. Who are the leaders of our let's stick with just the US. Who are the leaders of the United States government?
This is your time to talk, because you know all about that.
It's all of the people in government, the presidents, the senators, the congressmen and women, and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they best known for? Let's just be honest.
Yeah. I'm saying, you take the wheel, man. I've been driving for a while.
You're not going to answer that.
No, I'm not playing dumb here. I'm not lying. I'm not sure what you're fishing for.
I'm not fishing. They're very, very well known for being liars on both sides.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I'm with you.
On both sides of the aisle. And
Okay.
I did not have sexual relations with that.
You're talking about politicians in general.
Politicians, yes.
Okay.
Right. So and what do? We go. I'll start with. I'm not going to go back, because I honestly don't know enough about it. But I do know that politicians are full of crap, and they're known for being liars. And those are the people we keep electing.
Right.
So those are the people that we're electing. We know they're liars. We know, like there are some things that are publicized that are like, dude, yeah, that's BS right there, man.
Especially if you have videotape. You have videotape of them saying things. I mean, and you see it. You don't just hear it. You see it, and they're saying it, and they go, "No, I didn't say that."
Yeah, no, that's not me.
Like, really?
Like, so all of these, and then we put them up on these pedestals. We put them up in these powerful positions to govern us, make laws, and all enforce and all of that. And then we expect ourselves to be different.
Yes. In other words, we set a different standard for others than we do for ourselves.
And I think that, and I'm in no way do I think lying is okay, but I think that it really is having an impact on all of society. It's not, it's the trickle down, right? So it's like, my wife has a sign somewhere in the house that says, children will rarely do what they're told, but they will always do what
they're shown.
Yeah. What they see. They'll
do
what
they're shown. Exactly.
Yeah. And so I don't think that, I think that over time, society is, hey, you know what? God doesn't belong in school. Let's take him out. And then, we're just depleting society. And then we sit back and we question, well, man, I wonder why every time I talk to that dude, he lies to me.
Would you mind terribly right now if I just get back here in the back seat and let you drive? I'm serious, because I was driving there for a while, and you're as good a driver as I am, and I want to listen to you, because you're preaching, baby, and you're right on the money.
I think that we need to not necessarily. I don't have the answers, obviously, but I think that we definitely need to take a really hard look at, it's got to start at the top of your family level first. Look at the top of your family level. Husbands and wives, figure your shit out and stop lying. Stop being whatever you're being with each other, so your kids have something to look at that's worth looking at, and they have something to emulate that's worth emulating. Stop all the crap. That's number one. Number two, when you go to the voting booth, like before you go, research the people on the ticket.
No matter, right? Because this is not a partisan discussion. Do your research.
This is totally bipartisan. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, freaking Martian. I don't care what you are. Research. If this person has been in office for 50 years and has, in fact, affected no change at all, why would you vote for them? Why would you vote?
Well, a lot of people will vote the party. And it has nothing to do with the individual. They'll mindlessly vote the party.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I've done that before. I've done it. And was I right? Was I wrong?
This would be a really bad time to lie. You just said, I'm not going to lie. And I'm thinking, if you did, we just shot our credibility all to hell.
I went, well, I don't know who, and I probably shouldn't have voted on either one of them, but I didn't know. But we need to look at what we're doing. We need to get people in office that are running this, not just the country, because this starts on a local governmental level. There has to be honesty in, and look, I had a friend in recovery that used to say, he had many, many years sober. And he said, when I first got sober, I was a drunken horse thief. And he said, now I'm just a horse thief.
Horse thief, right.
and
right.
But,
That's
funny. And he would say, I'm as honest as my dishonesty will allow me to be. Meaning, look, we're especially for somebody in recovery, man, you don't become an alcoholic because you're the most honest person in a room. Like, you're just not. And so, that takes recovery as well. Getting well in every area of life, it takes time and it takes a lot of work. And I won't go into that whole long thing, but I just think that we need to, like, man, we got to take personal responsibility in our lives for everything, not just us speaking the truth, but holding other people, especially at higher levels that we pay with tax dollars. We're paying them to make decisions that are best for our communities, our states, our counties, our states, and our country as a whole. And we watch these videotapes. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Dude, there were cigars leading all the way out of the Oval Office. Yes, you did. And then we didn't hold them accountable. There was no accountability. And not just him. I'm talking about every single politician along the way on the Washington, D.C. level. I'm not saying there's not honest ones. There are. Right. There are good, honest people. But if they don't get in and play the game, they don't last in D.C. They don't last because it's a freaking game. And it's a game that we're sitting here watching. We know they're playing this game and we're allowing it. We're allowing it to happen, and it just blows my mind. Well, yeah, we know they're playing a game, but one of these days we know they're going to make a healthy choice and decision. It's like watching a freaking, you have a kid that's on drugs, and you're like, well, I just know that if I just keep loving him, one day he'll.
Right.
No, dude, your kid's
like Ken, it's like watching porn going in search of values.
It is, dude. It is. And I just think that it blows me away, man. I don't mean, I'll stop, but it really is. It's one of those things that really pisses me off, man, that we as a country are just sitting back watching our government as a whole stick it to us, and we're allowing it. We're allowing it.
So I want to mention a couple of the simple, and I want you to chime in, Ken, and I want everybody who feels like they're aware. What's that?
You run with this for a minute. I'm going to grab some water.
Okay. That's a good idea. I need to go get some here shortly, but yeah, I got it. So I'm not going to be able to highlight, guys, these comments because Ken has the control board, but do please comment. And when Ken gets back, because he'll be back probably in, what was the old saying? 3 shakes of a lamb's tail. I don't know where that came from, but that one was big here in the South. But I want to talk to you just about a couple of the simple lies that we tell that are causing damage. And you're probably not getting the connection between, and I tell you, if you're okay with lying, by definition, you do not believe in karma. I really hold that that's true. And hopefully Ken will be able to hear me. I hold the belief that if you're cool with lying, you clearly don't believe in karma, or you're a masochist or a sadist where you do believe in karma and maybe you want everything to go haywire in your life. But I can't imagine someone intentionally wanting their life to go south, like for just to have it come undone completely. So here's one that I want to mention. A simple little lie, like, what if someone gave you the wrong bill in a restaurant that was severely underneath the bill you should have been given in terms of the price? So let's say that you know that for your group of 4, dinner should have been somewhere in the neighborhood of $100+, like $150. And I'm not counting tip, just the amount. And for whatever reason, the waiter comes over and gives you a check that's for $60. There are people out there who would pay that check and call it good. And they know better. They know better. They know that that's not the bill. but it works to their advantage, so they will do it. Here's another one. I've seen people that will go to a bank teller. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever had a bank teller make an error in your favor. I have, and I've had it happen on more than one occasion. And one time in particular, I remember that the error was to the tune of 4 $100 bills. And I was getting a certain amount of what is called at a bank less cash. Like, here's the amount I'm depositing, less cash. And I think I got something like $1,400 back. And I only needed 1,000 back. And I counted it. It was already in my physical hands. I could have put it in my pocket and left. But here's the truth about me. No, I couldn't. No, I couldn't. And the reason is they say, well, no one will have to know. I know. I wrote a chapter about this called Under Surveillance. And it references the fact that the average human being in the United States is photographed 22 times a day. This is pre-COVID. I don't know what the new facts are relative to COVID, but 22 times a day that we are photographed. We are caught under surveillance, doing things, behaving as we will. Well, here's the deal. That number leaps exponentially with regard to how many times you are photographing yourself a day, because we have a thing called a conscience. We have a thing that has ourselves under surveillance. Hello, Doug. Hey, Doug, let me publicly say thank you, buddy, for my ladder.
Yeah.
It just got here 2 days ago, and thank you, man. The first thing we did was stretch it out and get up on it, and we leaned it up against our house before we even pulled it into the house. That's the truth. We pulled it out of its box in the driveway and leaned it up in the house so that we could stretch it out and step up on it and go, "This is a good ladder, man. This is solid." and it's also got really cool colors, like it's green and it's orange. It's anyway, it's like the coolest ladder now. So thank you for that. So I said, ma'am, you gave me too much change. And I gave her 4 $100 bills, and she kind of went blah, 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 like, how did I do that? I must have seen something as a 4, but I thought it was an 8. I don't know why. I don't know how she messed it up, but she messed it up in my favor. Well, here's the problem. At the end of the day, it's her drawer that's going to be short, and it's my conscience that's going to be heavy. So if you are someone who accepts disparities when they fall in your favor, that's a form of lying, and it's a big one. You know, and I got to say this, that my belief on karma with regard to money and lying is, if you were to be charged more than you owed for whatever it is, just go to that scenario where you're being charged more than you owe. Would you say something about it? I don't even need to ask you. I know guarantee you that of course you would. Yeah. You would say something. If your bill in a restaurant was supposed to be $80 and they handed you a bill for $200, you damn sure would say, excuse me, I'm sorry, this is not my bill. We figured it out. Ours should be around $80. And you would right the wrong. So if you're going to right the wrong when it falls in their favor, you got to have the same rules that apply to you, right? So they were going to keep your money. You can't have it one way, where it's lopsided only if it favors you. So if it doesn't favor me, if it injures me and favors you falsely, then I'll bring it up. But if it favors me falsely, I'm going to shove it in my pocket and haul ass. So what I would like to suggest, and I want to suggest it rather strongly, is that there is a correlation. Ken, did you hear most of what I was saying?
Yeah, I was there. I just was right.
My point is that there is a correlation between people who live their lives that way and lives that have a tendency to break down. Yeah. Futures that fall apart. That it's all connected. In fact, if there was anything I could share a great teaching with for the rest of my life, it's that somehow all this is connected, Ken. That everything we live in, it's all connected. Everything is connected to everything else. So if you're going to pull that shit at a bank, rest assured, there's a saying in metaphysics that how we do anything is how we do everything. So if that's the way you'll behave at a bank, what we know is that's the way you'll behave in your interactions with other human beings.
I remember my ex-wife was a bank teller, and Ed Roberts says his wife was a bank teller. My ex-wife was a bank teller, and I remember one day she came home from work and she got a phone call that she needed to go back to the bank because her till or whatever they call it was short, and she needed to go talk to the FBI. Like,
wow,
they're short a certain amount,
meaning she was held responsible for its shortness.
They bring in the FBI. Which, can you imagine how terrifying that is to a young girl that, and she was not, she was very honest. So, and I got to point out this, that Donna Kay Faulkner says, when you lie, your left and right brain hemisphere split into separation, darkness, and create a black hole.
That is what I was suggesting is true, Donna Kay Faulkner. Thank you for supporting that with a little science. My pitch tonight is that it is a much bigger deal than it is being credited to be.
Yes.
It's a much bigger deal. Here, Ken, what about the people that when they're on the phone with you, they tell a lie to get off the phone? Right? Whether it's with you or anybody else. In other words, I got to go pick up the kids. What I'd love to see is how many of those people upon hanging up were actually going to pick up the kids. Or is it just a convenient excuse? And you're saying, well, it's just what I did to get off the phone. I have a better game plan. Get into a different relationship.
Yep.
That's the solve. The solve is not to lie, to tell someone, well, I'm gonna go pick up the kids, or I gotta go. I've got a meeting. The biggest lie told in Hollywood. He's in a meeting. As though the whole world is always in a meeting. It's the thing. I don't know if it's that way in other businesses, but in Hollywood, there is no bigger lie told than he's in a meeting or she's in a meeting. It means they're not interested in taking your call, and they don't tell you, Bob is not interested in taking your call.
Right.
They don't tell you that. David has zero interest in speaking with you. They're always in a meeting. And what I want to tell you is that more than 50% of the time, Ken, they're not in a meeting. Nobody's in a meeting. So it's an agreed upon lie in society. And I want to tell you, if you tell someone, I got to go, whatever it is, and then you name it, in my world, you really should be leaving to do that thing, or quit lying about it and telling people that's why you're leaving. I'm leaving to go do that. You don't need to say anything. If I tell Ken, bud, I got to go. Why? I'm tired.
And I actually have said why.
Right. And tonight you said
vice versa.
Right. Tonight I asked you if you wanted to go live, and you said, I'm tired and I want to take a nap. I said, then take a nap. But he didn't make up some other crap. We've got dinner on the table. Do you? And it turns out you ate an hour ago. I don't mean you, Ken. I mean anybody. Quit telling people, well, I've got dinner coming up any moment now.
Yeah.
Well, because it's all connected, and there's a huge price to be paid for it, because you look in the mirror and you go, you know what? You will say anything to anybody.
Craig said, I need a nap too. Here's the thing though, Glenn. Here's what I think. I think that people lie. There's a book called, I'm sure you've read it or heard of it, A Course in Miracles. And it's a thick book, and it's about it's an incredible book. But anyway, I can summarize this entire book by saying this: everything we do and feel as human beings can be subcategorized under one of these two things, and that is love or fear.
Fear. Right.
And I think that people lie based on a fear that they have. I think they lie based on fear.
I think you're right. Go down this rabbit hole further. Why? What is the fear? What are they afraid of?
Look, we are, and Justin Benton, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I'm in that book, co-author with Dr. Bernie Siegel and some amazing other authors, and it's already #1 on Amazon. It doesn't even come out until October 6th. So.
You got a bestseller, dude. Congratulations. Congratulations, Ken.
Thanks, dude.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. So, but I think that people lie to protect themselves.
Okay.
Out of fear. Look, when the way that, I don't want to go too deep into this personally, but the way that I was raised, man, if you would have told
you were raised by a pack of wolves, right? Originally in the wilderness.
Yeah, that might have been. Anyway, so I'm just so. If I would have told the truth about every little thing I did wrong as a kid, dude, I'm not sure I would have made it to adulthood.
Well, and you're not alone, baby. That's a big club. That's a big club, and I am a member.
Yeah, and I know you are. And if you would have told the truth, you could have been beaten to death. And so Karen Toddy, do you think that's a lie? Is she lying?
Well, she isn't, because she added a really.
I know. I love.
So, Karen, we're going to go ahead and believe you solely because you said really. It is with such great emphasis.
I love Karen. She's amazing. So, so I think that, and for me as a kid, I mean, I learned it was a protection thing. I had to, or I had to, and I won't go into the details.
I agree that you had to.
And I know you had to.
That's correct.
Look, as kids, you're little assholes sometimes that do dumb shit. And I was one of those kids. And so it becomes it was a survival thing. And when I got sober at 34 years old, I entered Alcoholics Anonymous. And that is one of the most spiritual programs on planet Earth.
Yes, it is.
One of the most important, not one of the most important. Look, on the well, it's not on this coin, but on some of the coins that we have, is this thing that says how, HOW, and sobriety is long-term sobriety is only available to those who are willing to be honest, or it's only available. Lifelong sobriety, long-term sobriety is only available if you are honest, open, and willing. And honest is the first one. And not just honest with Glenn, and not just honest with your wife, or you're honest with society, but honest with yourself. And I looked at, man, dude, I did this work, these steps, and oh my God, man, I had to look at a lifetime of lies. I mean, just lies and being a horrible human being.
Mm-hmm.
And when you stop and you look at yourself, and all along the way until that point, I thought, dude, I drive a Mercedes. Are you kidding me? I'm a good dude.
I'm okay, as defined by the car I drive.
I know, right? I was like, I drive a Honda Accord now, but like,
and you're a way better person than you were when you drove the Mercedes.
Right. Next time somebody wants to sell me a Mercedes. No, I become a liar. No, but like I had to get honest. I had to get completely honest. And when you do that, man, and you strip yourself down to really look at yourself, I mean, really freaking look at yourself, life becomes way different. That's all I can say, because
it does.
You realize that if I want to live, because it was down to that for me. Roxy's leaving.
I know she is.
No,
she's going to head out for a walk because she's still in recovery mode. Hey, Roxy, you just gave me an idea by telling us this, and I'm sure you are actually going to do that because I know you're in recovery. But I think I'm going to explore some phenomenal level lies, just to tell people so that they understand as you're telling it that you're pulling their leg. Like, hey guys, I got to go. I need to go climb Mount Everest. Instead of saying I got to get to the bank, I'm pretty sure I need to start climbing Mount Everest. So I'm going to go ahead and go right now. I think I'm going to tell some of those this week so people will understand how playful I'm being. Roxy, keep healing, baby girl.
Love you, Roxy. She's amazing. So I love Donna Kay Faulkner. I love what she's saying.
2020 is a call for lifetime soul connection or correction. It's both, actually, connection and correction.
And they lie because they want the other person's positive energy. That's so true. Yeah. But you know what I've found? This is the craziest one. It's a what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's the opposite of what you would expect. What's that like a paradox?
I think they call that a surprise, Ken.
Well, yeah, but they also call it a paradox. But like it's surprising. Gosh, like they're setting off a whole entire barrage of people leaving us. But that's okay. All right. That's okay. We still love all of you. So here's the surprising part. I
don't think everybody's ready to hear this conversation, Ken.
No.
Well, in general, it's an uncomfortable topic because we're asking people to take their own inventory. We're not taking their inventory for them. We're asking them to take their own inventory and see if maybe the Liars Club is a club where you're a current card-carrying member.
How do we tell the truth to people who don't want to hear it or deal with it? Sometimes people really want you to allow them to stay in the world of lies they're telling themselves. I'm
gonna let you handle that one, brother. And you were at midpoint, so don't lose your thought.
Yeah, well, let me, Pam, I'll come back to that. So the surprising part about getting completely honest, I mean, completely honest, not like Jim Carrey level stuff from Liar Liar, which is a funny ass movie, by the way.
Yeah.
But I just thought of the scene where they're in bed and she's like, "Oh, that was awesome. How was it for you?" He said, "I've had better." That was so funny. But anyway.
Well, Ken, there's telling the truth, and then there's also being a dick.
Right.
We got to draw the line somewhere.
Right. But I'd love to see somebody do one of the skits from Liar Liar. And
I'll throw it out there this week. I'll mention it.
You got to who was the guy that played the, I don't know what movie it was from. It was last night. The guy that was playing the dude in the wheelchair behind the glass. You had the girl in the baseball hat. And
keep in mind, 10,000 scenes.
This was last night, bro.
Oh, okay. You're talking about Tony.
Tony,
Tony, and he was doing a scene with Rob and Lisa.
I thought he was awesome.
He is awesome.
I thought
Rob's awesome. Lisa's awesome. They're all three wonderful actors.
I could see him playing Jim Carrey. I don't know why. I could just see him doing that.
Yeah,
But
they're
anyway,
all fairly new at the workshop, and all three of them live in the New York, New Jersey area, and they're really gifted artists, all three.
wow. Yeah. That's such a great, yeah. So it is absolutely amazing what happens to your life when you become free from lying, when you are just able to be open and honest, just honest. And I'm not saying go, Glenn, I love you, dude, but you're gray and your beard just bothers me, man.
And it's really making you look older. You might want to lose it. That would fall under the heading of you being a dick. Right?
Which that doesn't bother me, by the way. I think it makes you look distinguished. But so I think that people need to realize that it's a much more comfortable way to live by just telling the truth, man. Like, just tell the truth.
Well, what's the old saying? And the truth shall set you free.
It does, man.
What's the amended version of that? Have you heard the amended version?
I have not.
The truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off.
Yes.
And that's also true. It was a really wise add-on, because you're going to have to be willing. Look, not everything in life is easy. We know this, we've heard it, but it's really true. But here's the point here's the point. The point is, it isn't easy to course correct a habit, especially if it's a habit you've had your entire life. However, I want to add 3 words. It's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth it. The payoff on the backside when we clean up our lives to whatever extent, Ken.
Yeah.
You know this. Your whole last 18 years has been about recovery. It's been about learning about you. It's been about cleaning up your life. And people who are well, they actively work on cleaning up their lives, not because it's a moral issue, but because they genuinely care. They want to be presenting the best version of who it is they are to the world. That actually matters to me. I'm not saying this for the audience. You know that this conversation would be exactly what one sounds like when you and I are on the phone with each other. That matters to me. That's where I draw my sword in the sand. And for the last couple of years of my life, I have had more peace than I've known in any chapter of my life. And it didn't descend upon me accidentally. It was quite intentional. I really looked at my moral inventory and researched, and I thought, what is in the way of things getting better? Because they were good. They were really good. There were blemishes, but overall, they were really good. And I thought, okay, so you don't need to rip out the carpet of your life, metaphorically. You do need to spot clean. Yeah. And this is what I do with a lot of my actors. I say, guys, we're not talking about laying a whole new carpet here, but we need to spot clean. We need to look and say, what areas are stained? What areas are dirty? What areas are unacceptable by an elevated standard? What areas would you like to change? You're saying you want improvement in your life, but are you willing to make the improvement? Are you going to do the work? And I really hold that one of the key blocks, I'll call it a block in life, is when we make permission to show up in an inauthentic manner with people, or to misrepresent, or to lie. It's problematic. And I think if you're in relationships that, in order for them to continue, if it requires that you continue to live as you wish but lie about it, you're probably not in a really good friendship. And you do so much better to just exit those friendships, start practicing a new behavior, which is so much more in your best interest, and then have people enter your life that are playing ball the same way. And they are accountable, and they want that from you, and because they want it from themselves.
Look, I think that this was a hard pill for me to swallow. And look, she says, how do we tell the truth to people who don't want to hear it or deal with it? Sometimes people really want you to allow them to stay in the world of lies they are telling themselves. Here's the thing. you confront it. You confront the lies, especially if they're impacting you. If they're not impacting your life directly, I mean, dude, I'm not your God. I'm not going to tell you what.
Correct.
Like,
You're not the moral police.
Yeah, right. You don't know that's wrong, then that's on you. But I will tell you this: I will distance myself from you, rock star, movie star or not.
Right. And I would expect you to.
And you would do the same thing. Like, dude, hey, man, no, I can't, So to answer your question, Pam, sometimes people really want you to allow, yes, but that's your choice to stay in that. You don't have to stay in that. And if you confront it, if it's affecting your life and there's no way to separate yourself from it, without separating yourself from it, does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Then you need to separate yourself from it. You need to walk away. You got to get out of that. JuliAnna says, I've struggled with this in the past, but I realized I can love their humanity if nothing else. You can love somebody if they're toxic because of their lies, if they're toxic to your world, your existence because of their lies, then right. You have a responsibility to you and your immediate loved ones, and that is get the hell away from that person.
Yes. I want to say this to Jules, since she's one of my students. Yeah. I agree with Ken across the board. But Jules, you can love them, and you can love them with your entire beingness. However, it doesn't mean you need to be on the dance floor with them. You don't have to be on the dance floor with it. Right. The dance floor of your life, and I'm speaking, yes, in metaphor, but the dance floor of your life is your sacred space. We'll call that your inner circle. And you just don't need to dance with that. So that can be way off in the end zone seats of your life. And if you want a better seat, well, think about this. If you want a better seat in a football stadium, guess what? It costs more. It costs more to have a better seat. I think the same is true in life. I think if you want a better seat, there's a higher price to be paid. If you want a better seat in life, there's a higher price, meaning you're going to have to ask more of yourself. And there needs to be, in my view, an insistence that you keep company with people who are living the way you believe in living. That keeps us healthy. Jim Rohn said we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And that's true. We are the moral average. We are the financial average. We are the stamina average, the drivenness average.
Yep.
We are the ethics average. It's, if you just look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, you will see that you are blending in with that collective more than you might realize you are. We are, as human beings, we are subject to absorption. So as we absorb our environment, part of precise living, precision living, is being careful to design our environment in a way that is congruent with the yearnings of our soul. I want to say that again, to design your environment in a way that is supportive with the innermost yearnings of your soul. It's congruent with that. And what happens is, if we just think, no, I'll just plop myself down, I'll just plop down anywhere. Anywhere is not good for us. Would you ever go into a restaurant and just go, hey, I'll just take anything? Okay, great. We'd like to give you some duck that is straight from Valdez, Alaska. It grew up raised in petroleum. It swam around in the ocean. It still has the color scheme all over it of the blue and the filmy oil slick. And we'd like to give you that for dinner.
No thanks.
So you don't want to have other people issuing you your life. You want to be able to design your life. And the point is, you deserve it. Everyone in here deserves to have the life you're willing to design.
Exactly.
You don't deserve what you're unwilling to design. So if you're not willing to do the work to design the life that you dream of, you don't deserve the life that you dream of.
Amen.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm calling a spade, and I really believe you can't sit around hoping you'll get lucky.
But here's
in life.
before it goes away too far up the screen.
Did you get Pamela's question fully answered?
I answered Pam.
Okay.
Tammy says, fearful of relationships because I don't have to deal with lies. And then she said, I've been alone for 20 years. Let me say this, and and this is not a judgment, but I want you to remember something that there is a saying, and Glenn, you and I have talked about this before. Anything that you see in another human being that pisses you off, makes you angry, bothers you, it's something that you're seeing that's in you as well.
Hence the expression, if you spot it, you got it.
Right. It's like I don't want to go out and cold call people or sell my product to people because everybody burns me. Well, and I've been there in that mindset. Like, oh my God, if I do this, then what if they don't pay me? And I get into that mindset, and then guess what happens? They end up not paying me, and I attract more people like that. When you have a mindset shift of you trust yourself, you trust the quality of who you are as a being, then you're no longer afraid of going out there and finding your soulmate, because your BS detector will be in tune, and you're going to detect the BS, and you're not going to attract the wrong people. And if it is the wrong person, your BS detector is going to say ding, 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 and you're going to have enough self-respect and self-love that you're going to go, hey dude, I'm out. Peace. Good luck with life.
100%.
Right. So instead of being, and I'm not judging you in nobody in any way, because I promise I have been there, bought the t-shirt and wore it out.
We started the show off by saying that.
Right.
We've swam in these waters.
Yeah.
Right.
I have. She said, I am the cold call queen. Well, Tammy, I need somebody that'll pick up the phone, start making calls for me. But here's the thing. So again, I truly believe that we are designed to not be alone. We are designed to not be alone. I mean, it's so important that there's a whole section of the Bible about how God saw Adam was lonely, and so he busted out one of his ribs and made a woman. I'm paraphrasing the heck out of that, but
it makes me want to go to Tony Roma's right now. I'm just saying. I got to be honest with you, since we're talking about honesty. That's what I was feeling. Ribs. I could go for some ribs right about now.
Ribs sound good pretty right now. So Donna says, when a person is a continual giver, they generate light between their hemispheres and cause unity and oneness with our source of life. If
Here.
They live in separation and loneliness. Wow.
I want to get to know Donna a lot more, because that's phenomenal. And it's just, you know what it is? It's just, we have a saying in Texas, it's called, that's good horse sense right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good horse sense. It just makes, it makes total sense. It's the truth. Donna, you have spoken profound truths tonight. So, but my question to you, Donna, and to everyone, what you just said is entirely true. I'm sorry. We didn't even have to send the jury out. Like, could you guys go deliberate for a while? You said it and we gave you our verdict immediately. Like, that's true. That's entirely true. My question to you is why? Meaning, why, when we know that what you've just spoken is the truth, Ken, what Donna just said is the truth. Well, if we know that wholesomeness is in our best interest and lying is not, the truth will set us free, which if the truth will set you free, it's implied then that lying will keep you in bondage, right? Yeah. I mean, we didn't hear that part of it. We just said, and the truth shall set you free. Free from what? And the answer is from the bondage of lying. So if we know that lying is not in our best interest, then why do we headlong march into doing it anyway? And this is my beef / curiosity about being human is, what is it with being human that we can know there's an issue? We can know the bridge is out ahead and still drive right off into the creek bed. It said bridge out. We saw the sign. This is bad for you. And we're like, well, I was kind of enjoying the drive. and over the cliff we go. So I don't understand why people are committed to doing things that cause us spiritual damage, emotional damage, physical damage, financial damage. It causes us harm, and we don't seem to prioritize it. And we're just here to help. We're here to offer some thoughts tonight.
What do you think of that?
Some people are true predators, though, and they purposely take advantage of people. But those people are ill. That's not a reflection of the people they prey on. It's a reflection of their character.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
However, there's a but. I hear
Go
it.
ahead. No.
Well,
I'm saying that, yes, that's true. There are probably multiple buts to that. It is true.
Right. It is.
Go ahead. Do you have a but?
Well, it's
I think our job is to increase our radar, Ken.
It's not going to be a popular but. I'm just going to be honest.
Well, that never stopped you before.
That's what this show's all about, being honest.
Yeah, it is.
So, I forget what the saying is. I forget how it goes, but a person cannot be, I forget how it goes. A person cannot be taken advantage of unless they want to be taken advantage of, or something. I forget
or
how.
Without their permission.
Without their permission, maybe. Okay.
I didn't write that. I'm saying I think that's the saying.
So, and I understand what Pam is saying. There are predators, and I know that they cause harm, but those predators don't successfully predator on. That's not the right word. They don't.
I kind of like the use of it you just created. You almost said it's not like they predate. They don't
prey upon. They don't prey upon the healthy people.
That's correct.
They don't.
And you know why?
They don't
it's because they're identified.
They're identified immediately, and
correct.
They don't get away with it. And I think that, again, when we look at the book Jack Canfield wrote, the Success Principles, the very first principle, I've talked about it 1,000 times, is take 100% responsibility for everything in your life. And he talks about, you saw the red flags before he cheated on you. You saw the red flags before you got the warning signs before she stepped out on you. You could have taken responsibility and not been late for that appointment and been paying more attention to the road and not had that accident. And he says those things in the book. And I, at first, when you think about that, you're like, wait a minute, how can I be a victim if I do? How can that be right? Like, that can't be true. But like, if you take 100% responsibility for your life and everything in it, I don't think that you're going to have people successfully preying upon you. Can the person once in a while get through? Sure. But if something bad is going on in your life and it has to do with another human being, and you've confronted that human being and it still hasn't changed, then it's on you. You need to get out now, not wait. Get out now. And I hear these things about women that say, oh my gosh, every time I get home, he beats me up. And it's sad. And I hate that. But dude, if it happens once, that's horrible. If it happens twice, that is your fault. Get out. You have to grow the what's the Jewish word? The chutzpah,
chutzpah.
Chutzpah. You have to have the strength. You have to reach deep inside and get the out.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I do agree with you, Ken. Where we may disagree or not be on the exact same page numerically is that sometimes I view it this way. Once could be a fluke. once could be a mood, and I'm not talking about beating someone, something extreme like that, but whatever it is. But if it's again, then that's a pattern. And that's when it becomes on you to decide, do I live with this? Is this, am I okay with co-signing this?
Right.
And it's huge. I want to offer some real help from my side, from the things that I've experienced and what I know to be true. And that's the whole reason we came up with this tonight. I happen to believe that it has a lot to do with your radar. And I want to tell you how I, in my own life, have foolishly stepped in the mud. That's what I'll call it stepping into the mud, which is the mud of making lesser choices. Right. The mud in making decisions that upon review, they transmitted regrets, right? Or they wrestled with my heart, or they were heavy on my heart. They played with my self-esteem, whatever it was throughout the course of my life. And I want to go back to something that we were raised with, which I believe is nice, but here's the but, Ken. It's a delayed but from earlier. It's nice, but it's costly. It's nice, but it's painful. It causes problems. And that is the phrase, just give them the benefit of the doubt. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And I heard a well-known therapist talk on this subject, and I went, wow, that's it. That's the deal. That's the deal. That's the breakthrough. So those of us who were raised with some amount of values, core values and morals and so forth, we're like, well, just give them the benefit of the doubt. Let me tell you why that's dangerous. I've been teaching for the last several years, make people earn you. Make them earn you. If you have healthy self-esteem, here's what's wrong about giving someone the benefit of the doubt. And I'm not saying become a jerk. And I'm not saying don't extend grace to people, of course. But when you're meeting them, here's what this therapist had to say. Meet them, and instead of extending the benefit of the doubt, which they did not earn, and the truth is, you don't know them well enough to give them the benefit of the doubt. They could be a serial killer for all you know. You don't know what their deal is.
Right.
And hopefully, if you've cultivated your radar, which I believe is part of the moral imperative to life, is to bolster your skill set in all areas. One of those would include your ability to read people, your ability to read situations, so that you can make a healthy assessment of what's really going on here versus what appears to be going. It's not about the appearance. I don't want to get swept up in the appearance. I want to be able to identify the truth. Right. What is going on behind this sales pitch that it seems I'm being given to invite me into this either relationship or job choice or whatever it is? Watch very closely, because I'm going to warn you, this is good, and it's more than good. It's great, and it will help you immeasurably. Stop starting out. So again, stop starting out with giving people the benefit of the doubt, but rather issue them the carpet of neutrality. The carpet of neutrality. It is neither plus nor minus. It is neither pro nor con. It means I'm listening. I'm listening and I'm watching. I'm just seeing who it is you are. Because what I know about human beings is that people leak. We leak. And the thing we leak is who it is we are. That's what we leak. And we can only leak what's inside us. Therefore, we leak our truth. Our truth. So what is it that's really true about who it is we are? Because that's what will either immediately or eventually leak. It's going to be one of the two. Guaranteed. I'm 61 years old. I have never seen it not work this way. Yep. People do leak. That is one of the things you can count on. You can count on earthquakes in Los Angeles and the fact that people leak. Those are two things that can be counted on. And they will leak, I want to say this again, either immediately or eventually. So be on the lookout. What are they leaking? What am I feeling right now? And then value those feelings. But don't start out by just offering things right and left generously, because you don't know who you're dealing with. So we have a thing that we teach in our workshop, which is really based on a military teaching. They use this in the military as a strategy in fighting wars. Now, that's not why we use it, but the words are really powerful. And the words are, in terms of interacting with someone, it's OODA, O-O-D-A. It stands for observe, orient, decide, act. Let me say it again. It starts with observing. It's the first thing you do. So you're observing, you're taking notice. What's going on? You're not doing anything. You're not getting involved. You're standing here, and I'm going to observe. I'm going to listen and observe you. I'm going to observe the situation. I'm also going to observe what I'm feeling. So I'm not only going to observe you, I'm going to observe me observing you. I'm going to check in. Why am I feeling a little uncomfortable? What are those rumblings? So it starts with observation. We move from that into orientation. So we're orienting, observe, orient. So now what I'm orienting to, plus or minus, forward or backward, am I being drawn toward you or being repelled back somewhat? I'm orienting to that which I've observed. From that new position of orientation, I make a decision. Observe, orient, decide. That's number 3, followed by act. Instead of starting with act, like I'm meeting you and I'm right into act. I'm meeting you and I'm right into, hey, here's everything of my life and you're welcome to all of it. And you have no idea because you skipped 3 crucial steps. They are crucial. So for those of you who walk around giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, I'm not saying to go to the overcorrection of being shut down and dealing with no one. That's a huge mistake. I would never advocate that, ever. What I am advocating is come from neutrality and take a wait and see attitude. Just meet someone. Don't assume that they're unpleasant. Don't assume that they're phenomenal. Just open your eyes and notice who it is they are.
Right.
That will keep you out of trouble. We get into trouble because we assume, hey, most everyone's really nice. Most everyone gets up on the right side of the bed and means the whole world well. Isn't that lovely? It's just a lovely thought that everyone is really rooting for my personal wellness.
Right.
And it's a misinformed opinion. And so you are set up to be mashed if you believe that about other people. You can hold the belief that they mean well, but if I were you, I would extend the carpet of neutrality, let people show you who it is they are, because you will see you'll witness their leakings, and then decide, do I want them on my dance floor?
Right.
Then you will start making better decisions, and that will keep you out of the uglinesses that result in having given someone you did not know access to your life. When you meet a stranger think about this. You meet a stranger on the street. What if it's the first day for the mailman and or male person? I know it's male, female sometimes, but whoever delivers your mail and you go, hey, you know what? I haven't met you yet. I think you're new on the route because the other person's been here for years. And they go, yeah, it's my first day. And you go, oh, hey, you know what? I just feel like you should have the keys to my house.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is, Ken. If you think about it, it's like, I don't believe I know you. You should have all the keys to my house. Why do people do that with their lives? And then here's what happens. They get robbed and they feel like a victim.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Who did you give your keys to? Okay. So anyway, I know that if you factor that in, OODA, O-O-D-A, observe, orient, decide, act. I just want to breathe now because I just put out a tremendous amount of energy into communicating that lesson. And it's because people are not taken advantage of nearly as much as they think they are. Right? Now, I do know that does happen in some instances, but in most instances, it's because we allowed ourselves to be taken advantage of. And you got to go back upstream and say, okay, it feels like I'm a victim here, but let's look at the game film. Let's go back and look at the highlight reel, or in this case, it would be the low light reel. And then we can identify, oh, shoot, that's what happened. I just gave the mailman the keys to the house and I never bothered to know who they were.
Do you know how, what, I don't know if it's an emotion, maybe a desire more than an emotion, but what con men play on the most?
Compassion, kindness,
greed.
Okay. I mean, I can certainly see that.
Yeah, they play on other people's greed, and so when we're taken advantage of, when we're taken advantage of,
mm-hmm.
and if we're 1000% honest with ourselves, and this is hard to do, man. It's much easier to be a victim, but when we are taken advantage of and we go, okay, what's my part in it?
Mm-hmm.
What's my part in it? It's all, it's amazing to me how a husband and wife, or you can be in love with somebody and then things go amiss. And then, a week later you're like, that, start calling them all the worst names in the book. And like, dude, a month ago you were telling her I love you. A month ago you were sleeping together. A month ago she was at, and now all of a sudden she's this because the situation didn't go with your narrative of how it was supposed to work out. And I get that. I totally understand that. But what's your part in it? Anytime I've been in a situation where I was taken advantage of, I had a part in it. There was something I was getting out of the relationship, something that I was hoping to get out of the relationship.
I agree. Do you know who I think gets a get out of jail free card with regard to the thing you're talking about? I think there's one group that gets, in my view, they deserve a get out of jail free card. You want to know?
Yeah.
Children.
Amen. I totally agree with that.
In other words, we're not talking about children right now, because children really, really are victims at times.
They are.
I know, because I done walked in them shoes, as have you.
Yeah.
But once we reach what is known as the age of accountability, and that happens give or take in about the same time frame, but it's not predictable to the exact year. But once we leave the home and get out and start providing for ourselves, we start bolstering self-reliance, then it's really, if we're showing a pattern of being taken advantage of, really, Ken, I couldn't agree with you more. That's on us. That's on us. It means that we're allowing people to get away with things. And all we have to do is stop and do what you are recommending, which is, okay, you know what? I'm tired of this pity party. That's not improving my life. What is my role in it?
You're never going to meet a truly successful, financially and happy victim. It's not real, man. You're not going to meet somebody that walks around.
You froze up there for a minute, Keno.
Now
you're back.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're never going to meet a victim that walks around saying,
meet a victim that's happy and successful.
Right. Well, first of all, the death of a person vibrationally and in terms of their personal brightness is if they're reciting the phrase, they made me. They made me. He made me. She made me.
Yeah.
Nothing makes you without your permission on some level, including that doesn't take into account what somebody pulled, but at some point you gave them permission to be in your life. So what's your role in it? And this is not 100%. I do think there are those rare things where people go and run over a stranger that wasn't doing anything wrong, and quote, they didn't deserve it. I think, and we have a term for that in life. We call them accidents. But very few things in life, Ken, in my view, very few things in life are accidental. Almost everything that appears, if you are willing to go back upstream far enough, you'll go, wow, I just realized my role in that.
Well, you know, dude, I have a friend who died. She was dead for 30 minutes, or I'm sorry, 90 minutes.
I saw the interview. I looked at it the other day.
Did you
Come
look?
on, baby. I love me some Ken Wall. I love me some Ken Walls.
Did you watch her? She's amazing.
Yeah, she's got a great spirit, man.
See her glow. I love.
Oh, she looks so much better alive than she would have dead.
I know. And I told her, I mean, I tell her.
You call her the dead girl, man. You're rude. You call her the dead girl.
I'm like, oh my God, you're the first dead girl I've ever met. So she cracks up. I love her. She's amazing. But she, you know, I listen, man, you get a review of your life when you die. And she knows. You get a review. You get a review of everything that you're responsible for. And so when we stop playing the victim card and we start taking responsibility, no matter what. I went through it all as a child. I know other people that went through it as a child, and they chose a different path, and they're sitting in prison or they're dead because they made choices to stay victimized. And look, I'm not, this again is not a judgment. I was a victim for many, many, many years, to the point where it almost killed me.
Well, you at least esteemed yourself to be one. You thought yourself to be one.
Exactly. Right. But like when you start having different thoughts, because again, it's like in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, which is a phenomenal movie.
Loved it.
Oh God. Marley, what's her name?
Marley Matlin.
Yes, oh my God, what an amazing movie. And they talk about, I think it's Dr. Ishimoto or somebody, I don't remember the exact Japanese name. I think it was Ishimoto, but they took.
You're talking about with water experimentation?
Oh,
that's Dr. Matsuru Emoto.
Emoto, that's it. Yes.
Matsuru Emoto.
They take the water and they're hating the one thing of water, and then they're praying and meditating and sending love to the other, and it's just,
and the third group is showing indifference.
And yes, right,
they're turning their backs on the water,
right.
And they observed the water's reaction to all three test groups, and they found out that thought affects water. Well, here's the big duh in that one. Human beings were born 72% what? Water. And as we grow up, it's not that same percentage. It does decrease somewhat, but it only decreases to 60% in men and 55% in women, which means we're still mostly water. I've been teaching this for years. So if we know that water has a sensitive response to thought, then really when you're being kind to someone and loving, you're essentially being kind with their water.
Yep.
You're treating their water well.
Yeah.
So, and if you're holding dark thoughts, then those thoughts are being absorbed. And if you're saying self-defeatist language, if you're using self-defeatist words, in the matter of describing yourself to others, oh, I suck at this, and I've never been good at that, and I don't have confidence, and all that. And your water is believing everything you tell it. Your water's going, oh, okay, well, that doesn't sound very good. And then it sets things in motion, and the next thing you know, we have contaminated our own water through thought.
Yeah.
What did Pam say? I didn't see that.
Yes, anyone who has been through that as a child should not experience shame from that, even though they do. But I think it's an important distinction and caveat to people being a reflection of a person who has abused them purposely.
Well said, Pamela.
Yeah.
Well said. You know, we're not responsible for the mistreatment that was shown us as children. We are responsible for transcending it. And that's up to us. We have to do something. It was done to us. Okay, so now what? So what's our role in it now? So we either begin with like bring on the healing. Let's get with the healing, or let's get with the blaming. And I think you can't be a healer and a blamer in the same time. I don't think those two things can coexist simultaneously. You're either healing from your ailments or you're blaming. And if you're blaming, then you can't get on with the healing because none of that has a thing to do with you. You're constantly saying the world's at fault. He, she, or they made me. Well, that means you've given them the keys to your life, and there's not a damn thing you can do about your predicament because you really think that you're still a victim. Not only that once upon a time, but that you continue to be. And the only person responsible for that modality of continuation is you. Yeah. I don't see that as sad news. I see it as great news. Because if you know that you're the one that has continued that commitment to dance in victimization, then that means you're the one who can get the hell off the dance floor. You don't have to do that anymore. Nobody has to do that. I don't care how long you've been living your life a certain way. You can stop that crap tonight.
Yep. Right now.
Unless you don't think you can. And then Henry Ford gets to be right when he said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Yep.
So you get to decide. We all get to decide how wonderful we want this to be.
I do think people abuse others that aren't themselves abusive. Absolutely. At that point, the target has to either learn how to not allow themselves to be abused or find a way out of the situation safely. Look, here's the thing. Anybody that's being abused needs to get out. I unfortunately have been there, and you need to go. You need to get out. You need to get out.
Ken, I'm going to say something that's not overly optimistic, which I'm not known for, but I think it's truthful. So may I say this one thing?
Yeah.
We all know that people can change. You agree with me on that? People can change. I'm going to take it a step further. I think people can change for the better.
Absolutely.
Here is my overall phrase. And this is where I'm only calling it based on what I've seen to be so my whole life. I do believe people can change. I do believe they can change for the better.
Yeah.
I also believe they usually don't. And I wish that were not my opinion. But I've seen too much evidence to the contrary, because I don't think people realize how proactively or what a proactive role they play in the outpicturing of their lives and the outcomes. So I think that change, even favorable change, is a fantastic conversational topic. And then that's where it stops. And only a few will continue on to do the work. In the same vein, my industry tells everybody it's a really, really bad choice for a living. And I was one of them. So most people will accept that and decide, well, that just can't be a living. I mean, and that's why they co-sign the expressions like starving actor, struggling artist. I never did. I just refused to agree with that. There was no part of me that would co-sign that. So you can talk about wellness till the cows come home, but how many people, I mean, you know the expression shelf help, not self-help, but shelf help. And that's the merchandise that people purchase at personal development weekends that they absolutely are committed to listening to or reading and learning from. And the CDs and the DVDs and the pamphlets and all of that. They spend a lot of money, and then they take it home and it makes it to the shelf, and then they don't do the work. And a year later, it's still in its plastic wrap. And I've been told those numbers are around 75%, that it just, so it was a great concept at the time, and they sort of got swept up in the eagerness of all these people going, yay, life. And they're all shoulder to shoulder going, oh, I love life, man. This is so cool that we get to feel good. We get to heal. And then as soon as the clapping stops, the work begins. And that's the part they weren't so much interested in. What they wanted to do is just cheer a lot because it doesn't take a tremendous amount of energy to cheer. But now we got to get to do the work. And there's going to
you get in the energy fields of everybody around you. And so, but again, I think that and dude, I have to go, man. I'm sorry. I'm fading. It's 2
Let me
hours.
guess, you have to go play flag football? Is that going to be the lie tonight?
No, I have to.
You have to climb Mount Everest?
No, I was thinking Mount Rainier, but no, I need to go change the oil in my car if I'm going to be
exactly. Honest. I need to go running. I'm going to do a 26-mile marathon tonight.
Yeah, and I'm running a few minutes behind getting started on that.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go lay out at the beach tonight. Because I want to get some sun. The only kind of sun I can handle, which is the moonlight.
I am tired. That's the truth. Donna Kay Faulkner.
You are a gift, Donna.
I want to get to know her, and I think she is a really good prospect to be on my show.
Where do you know Donna from?
I don't know where I know Donna from, but
hey, Donna. Well, before we sign off, let's find out. How did you find out about the Ken and Glenn show? Yeah, or even the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott on Sunday nights.
Stalk her Facebook page.
Yeah, I like Donna's vibe.
I do too. I like the energy she's putting out. I think
she has a lot of know-how and evidence. There's huge evidence that she's in right here in Dallas, Texas.
Your neighbor, bro. She lives like 2 doors down from me, probably.
She's probably 1 door down.
She knows about us from you.
You know what it is? She probably looked over, Ken, like I'm looking at you, and saw me sitting here at the computer. She probably lives next door. But Donna, I live here in Dallas as well.
She said that, Glenn, that's how you said, how did you hear about us? She said, Glenn.
Yeah.
You know her.
Yes, I do.
You do?
Maybe. I don't know.
She wants to be on my show. So I think she wants to be. I think that's what she means.
Well, she not only should be on your show, she should be on everybody's show. She's very good.
I love her energy.
Hey, man, I love your willingness to do this show and devote it to the topic that we did. I understand that it's not a lot of fun to listen to, but you know what? Not every show is supposed to be about fun. Sometimes we have to trade in fun, even though I'm a huge fan of fun. But sometimes we have to trade in fun for important.
Yeah.
Some things in life are just important. And if you esteem them to be important, then here's the deal. You'll do the work.
Yeah.
You'll do the work. If it's, and I said this to a student this week. I said, you need to work more. That was my review at the end of her scene. And I said, it wasn't important enough to you. That's the bottom line. That's me being straight away. I'm going to call you out on this. It wasn't important enough. If it had been important enough, you would have done the work. If it had been important enough, you would have memorized. So let me ask you this. I know Steven Spielberg. I've worked on a few Spielberg films. If Steven Spielberg were going to join me for class, if we had sent a memo out last week that Steven would be with me, along with Michael Bay, right, who I've done 6 movies with, along with Michael Bay, and they're going to sit in on Monday's class or Tuesday's class, do you think you would have been memorized? You already know the answer. You already know the answer. You know damn well that you would have been memorized and prepped to the seat, to the moon and back. Why? Because you're not being governed by internal mandates.
Yeah.
Right? Your internal mandate is the reason that you choose excellence, not because of who might be in the audience. The answer is, it's just what I do. It's important to me to live my life with a high bar. I'm not going to just live a high bar life because Steven Spielberg's going to be in the audience. So if you're only making healthy decisions based on who you think might be watching you, you're not ready for success. That's the truth. You're not ready to have a great life. People who are true champions do not motivate from the outside in. They motivate from the inside out.
Yep.
So we love all of you. Thank you so much for being here, Ken. I love you, dear brother. Thanks for talking about lying tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I think that we pulled it off without telling any lies.
I think we batted 1,000 at that.
Yeah.
I really do.
Thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who shared it out and has been here throughout the entire thing. Appreciate and love you all.
We'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. See you guys later.
Bye for now.